to, you know, pay my dues and hopefully somewhere along the line I'll win a tournament.
I don't like to refer to anybody as being foreign. I like to call them overseas players because that's what they are. Foreign. When you talk about something foreign, it means we're totally different. I don't believe we're different at all.
All this and more. Inside the PGA Tour with an update on the 1988 Nabisco Grand Prix of Golf. Inside the PGA Tour is brought to you by Nabisco Brands, a strong supporter of golf and its charitable activities. By Buick, the official car of the PGA Tour, and by your Buick dealer. And by Gold MasterCard, the world's #1 gold card. Choose the card that makes a difference.
10 months ago, we had the 1987 Western Open here at Butler National Golf Club. Prior to the Western Open, which was only a 54-hole tournament, we had a 100-year flood. We had 2 major rainfalls. One totaled 8.5 inches, and the second one, 3 days later, measured 2.5 inches. Little did I know at that time what was facing me here at Butler National to hold the 1987 Western Open. You can imagine now, that level is about the height of my head here, and it was here for 5 days and had completely killed out the entire area of what's known as the Salt Creek floodplain. Now, the crisis came when, right after the Western Open, we had to decide if we were going to be able to get the course back in condition for our members this year, and will we be able to have the '88 Western Open. The Board of Governors here at Butler National had an emergency board meeting 3 days after the Western Open ended, and they approved the program that we had put together, and we started work 4 days after the end of the Western Open.
After rebuilding 5 greens, 5 tees, and 12 acres of fairway, Butler National was ready for inspection. PGA Tour assistant agronomist Dennis Ledger arrived 2 weeks prior to the Western and left Miles with a special feeling, a feeling he shared with tournament officials Mike Shea and Wade Cagle.
The nicest compliment I had was when Dennis Ledger came in and he took his tour, you know, and I was going to start him at 6th where the water went off of the golf course. And he said, Oscar, you know, it's been 3 years since I've been here. Do you mind if we go to first hole? And we start at the tee, and I'll just go tee, inspect that, and the fairway, and then the green, you know, hole by hole. We got back in the cart, drove across the path, went down into the rough, and he says, hold it a minute. I stopped the cart, and he asked me, didn't you have to do any work here? So that was the greatest compliment. Yeah, because it was strong enough to make it look like it was ready to play.
Yeah. Priced an imported car lately, you could be in for import sticker shock. Or a pleasant surprise at your Buick dealer, Buick Century. It's actually priced under smaller imports like Toyota Camry Deluxe and Honda Accord DX. It's loaded with standard features, like room for 6, stereo, even a real trunk. That's more car for the money. That's the value of the Century.
If you heard the report on 59 cold cereals by a leading consumer magazine, you'd fall through the floor.
Mine's high in calcium.
And salt.
Salt?
High in fiber.
And sugar.
Sugar? Lots of protein.
And added fat.
Fat?
The magazine rated shredded wheat tops in nutrition for no added sugar or salt, low fat, plenty of fiber and protein. Shredded wheat. And nobody else.
Next time you rent a car, be sure to use Gold MasterCard and to be covered with Master Rental, the insurance that includes what American Express left out. Because only Master Rental covers more than just collision damage and loss. It covers your stolen luggage and something even more important, you. So for the best car rental insurance any card offers, use the world's #1 gold card, Gold MasterCard. Choose the gold card that makes a difference.
What can you expect when you invest at Schwab? Ask a Schwab customer.
I'm looking for quick response and accuracy. I call Schwab and often get my market orders confirmed while I'm still on the phone. I like the fact that there's no sales pressure. For me, Schwab simply delivers good service, good value.
For a free booklet, call 800-237-4400. That's 800-237-4400. This year's Western Open began last Tuesday at Butler National Golf Club with some comic relief, courtesy of actor Bill Murray. Playing in a celebrity shootout, Murray brought a smile to partner Peter Jacobsen's face when he holed a 5-foot putt to win the competition. Jacobsen kept smiling all the way to Sunday when he began the final round with a 4-shot lead, trying to end a 3-year winless streak. But by the time the 12-year veteran reached the turn, his lead had been cut to 1. Enter Jim Benefi. Only days before the tournament began, the 24-year-old Wyoming native had hustled an invitation to play. Suddenly, the Northwestern graduate found himself 2 shots out of the lead in the final round of his first PGA Tour event.
I felt really good the last 2 days, having survived the cut and being in contention. Like I said, I had nothing to lose going into these rounds. And the other guys are playing for the top 125 and the exemptions and all that. I had nothing to lose. The money never entered my mind, so I just started on the first hole and started going at it.
Benefi was already 2 under par when he picked up another stroke at the 10th.
I had so many friends out there, sponsors and people I went to college with, people I haven't seen in a couple of years, friends from Wyoming that happen to be living in Chicago now, and I was just going to use the positive effect that they gave off and play as well as I could.
Still a shot back at 13, Benefi came agonizingly close to a tying birdie with his chip. After several years of persistent back problems, Jacobsen has only recently returned to form. On Sunday, he was consistently in birdie range, but he couldn't seem to find the line.
I just settled back into my game plan and just said, let's be aggressive and just keep knocking the flag down. But I just couldn't get the putts in. My putter stopped putting and started puttering, I guess.
Jacobsen's steady play was no comfort to Benefi. He still needed to pick up a stroke. And at the 16th, he made his move.
I knew I had to at least make a birdie to have a run at it. And I hit a great 1-iron, and I took that 6-iron right at that pin. It was a perfect yardage for me, and I nailed it.
No stranger to tournament competition, Benefi has already won twice on the Canadian Tour. A share of the lead didn't faze him a bit.
It's still a game out there. I mean, it's still the course, and it's the ball and the hole and you. And there's a lot of fans out there, but when you're into it, just like some people are into their jobs or some of their great hobbies, you're almost in a trance.
But Benefi's work wasn't done yet. After parring 17, he faced Butler National's treacherous 18. His approach was safely on, but 40 feet right of the flagstick. After knocking his birdie bid past the cup, Benefi missed the crucial par saver and fell out of the lead.
I played it the top left edge and planned for it to break, and I hit it right there, and it didn't break, and I figured I'd lost it.
Watching from the 18th fairway, Jacobsen knew a par would win.
At 165 yards to the hole, and I felt 6-iron was the right club, and I hit it just to the right of the flag in the middle of the green where I was playing it, and I thought it was the right play, and it carried over everything from what I understand. I never saw bounce. It looked like it carried all the way over, and when you do that on that hole, it's automatic 6.
Somebody said that he'd hit it in the water, and I just, you know, it was hard to believe that a player of Peter's caliber would make a mistake like that.
Jacobsen still had a chance if he could pitch it close. But his ball came to rest 30 feet from a tying bogey. He made a valiant effort to sink it, but Peter would have to wait for another day. This one belonged to Jim Benefi.
About a year ago, at this time, I really didn't know if I'd be playing golf. And I know I've been redundant in saying it over again, but it's just nice to be back playing and competing, and standing on the last hole with a 1-shot lead is what it's all about.
For Benefi, the victory can't be measured merely by the size of the paycheck or even by the 2-year exemption he received.
The feeling of winning, it makes all the hours of practice and hard work and sacrifice worth it, really worth it.
In the Nabisco Grand Prix of Golf, Jim Benepe's $162,000 payday rocketed him into 37th place as he became the only player since Ben Crenshaw to win his first time out. Last week, Inside the PGA Tour conducted a phone poll, giving you an opportunity to choose who you thought was the greatest player in the world today. The fourth place finisher was 1988 Masters champion Sandy Lyle with 5%. In third place was Seve Ballesteros with 10%. Greg Norman was the runner-up with 38% of the calls. And the winner was U.S. Open champion Curtis Strange with 47% of the vote. Curtis has now won 6 tournaments in the last 12 months. Inside the PGA Tour would like to thank all of you who participated in our poll.
Channel is 18 hours a day of the finest documentary programming from around the world. The Discovery Channel is television that reveals the world in all its mystery. Television that excites the imagination. Television that sparks curiosity. Television that provides new perspectives and intriguing ideas. The Discovery Channel, expanding your world.
ESPN lets the good times roll as America's top bowlers try to strike it rich. Top money winner Dave Husted leads the field at the Kessler Classic Wednesday night at 11 Eastern live on ESPN.
Beer would taste much better. Have we seen you before?
David Forrest has proven to me in the last 3 or 4 years that he's really up and coming.
He works extremely hard on his game. He's got a good, solid golf swing. I don't think he has any weaknesses in his game.
I think David's is quite an exceptional player. He's works very hard at his game, and he's a very solid player. He's going to be around on our tour for a long time. David's a supreme talent, and he's probably the most underrated player on tour because he hasn't won.
I think it's just a matter of time before he really takes the tour by the throat.
In 1959, South African Gary Player captured the British Open. That same year, a future South African standout was born. David Lawrence Frost grew up on a 300-acre vineyard just outside Cape Town. As a child, when he wasn't farming, he was hitting golf balls.
The golf course is about 10, 12 miles from our house, and as a result, we couldn't go there during the week, so all I do at home was, hit balls into a net which I had in the backyard on the farm, and then I'd hit golf balls out into the vineyards before school in the mornings, and then I'd pick them up in the afternoons when I got home, and that was my practice. I couldn't go to the golf course. I think my first golf set I bought cost me $40, and I'll never forget I had a 1.5 Dean Donald driver, which wasn't a strong driver, so it was good for me. I had a 3-wood, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and wedge.
By age 18, Frost was already having success as an amateur. And in 1977, against an American junior team, he thrashed a player who since won on tour, Mark Calcavecchia.
It was a very windy day. I'll never forget. It must have been at least 25 miles an hour wind. And I was drawn to play Calcavecchia, and the wind just must have driven him crazy. I was 2 under par after the first 9, and I beat him 9 and 8.
David turned professional in October of '81, began playing the South African Tour, and finished 16th on the money list his rookie year. For the next 2 years, he split his time between the Florida Mini Tour, the European Tour, and the South African Circuit, where he won the Gordon's Gin Classic. In '84, it was back to Europe, where he won the Cons Open. Frost then flew to America, finished second in his regional tour qualifier, went back to Europe and South Africa, and then returned to America for his final tour school.
That was actually a big roundabout for me, going from Europe to qualify, back to Europe, back to South Africa, back here again. It must have cost me all of $10,000 at the time. It was a lot of money for me then, but it was a good investment.
It didn't take David long to see dividends on his investment. In April of '85, he tied for second at the Houston Open, the first of a long string of runner-up finishes. In '86, Frost earned 6 top 10s and lost in a 4-way playoff of the Western Open to Tom Kite. Last year proved to be his most lucrative year on tour, with 12 top 10s, over $500,000 in earnings, the scoring title, and 3 runner-up finishes. Frosty's '87 success has carried over into '88. He's already earned over $400,000, but has yet to win a tour event. 3 more second-place finishes have left Frost discouraged, but determined he will win.
I'm trying to win. You know, it's not as though I'm going out there and I'm not trying to win. So, I mean, I'm trying to win. I'm not winning, but at the same time, I'm doing well. And, I'm quite happy to, pay my dues and hopefully somewhere along the line I'll win the tournament.
Frost is still searching for the elusive first win, but not without support from his wife, Linda.
I think it's very important to have somebody like her that can, be right behind you all the time. You take all the guys that have been successful, not only in golf, but all other businesses, 90% of the time there's somebody right behind them. And I've been very fortunate that she's, supported me all along.
Just over 4 months ago, the Frosts added another cheerleader, Sean.
He's a little bit too young for me right now. I want to come home and I want him to run around. I want him to have a swim with me. And, he started reacting a lot the last, say, 2 weeks. He laughs a lot in the morning when he wakes up and makes a few noises. And, it's just very nice. It's nice to be a family.
Like Sean, David, too, is in a learning stage. But when he finds the right formula for victory, there's no telling how far he can go. This week, Fulton Allen, another South African now playing in the States, shares his life on tour. Fulton speaks on missing home.
It's like anything. Eventually you get used to it. Right now I don't miss home in the sense of missing the buildings and the place so much. I miss my parents more because, that's the part that you really miss is your family, your friends, and your parents. But then again, they're just a phone call away, and with the wonderful facilities that they have on this tour, I get to phone them every week. I don't like to refer to anybody as being foreign. I like to call them overseas players because that's what they are. Foreign, when you talk about something foreign, it means we're totally different. I don't believe we're different at all. As an overseas player, I do believe that the overseas players that come to the United States have so much more incentive to want to play well because the greatest golfers in the world come from over here and have been over here in the past, ever since I can remember the game of golf. And what is happening now with all the overseas players doing so well, when you think about Greg Norman, Sandy Lyle, Seve Ballesteros, and, all the top players from overseas, it is basically the incentive that started in the United States that got them to where they're at. I believe that. Well, I won the South African PGA in 1987, and that gave me a spot in the World Series of Golf, which is played in Akron, Ohio. And I finished second in that tournament in the World Series, and that gave me $87,500, which was enough money to maintain a card for the following year. And that way I got onto the tour this year, and I've been playing it just about full time. I've played 15 events since I've been here, and I've done reasonably well for a rookie. I feel very happy. I'm going to go overseas. In fact, I leave on Sunday night. I'm going to go and play in the Scottish Open and then the British Open straight after that. Then I come back over here, take a week off, and I'll be over here until late October, and then go back to South Africa and, try and keep a tour going over there. Things are bad over there as far as the world is concerned, I mean, as far as South Africans are concerned, everything might be all right, but I'd like to see them keep a tour over there, and I'd like to go and help them keep one going. And I'll be there for Christmas and come back in January again.
Introducing an automobile born for the great American road. Murieta by Buick. A premium American two-seater, Murieta offers the exhilaration of a sports car and the luxury of a Buick at a most attractive price. If your destination in life has always been the top, go ahead. You deserve it.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
Scott's Aqualink watering system. The hardest part is turning it on.
Golf, a sport for all seasons. And 12 months a year, ESPN brings you the best of the PGA Tour. Coverage from 3 of golf's Grand Slam events, the finest Lady Linksters, and those swinging seniors. The world's greatest golfers deliver heart-stopping thrills at the British Open. See live coverage Thursday and Friday morning at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
The Senior Tour celebrated its holiday weekend outside of Sacramento, California, with a 4th of July final round in the Rancho Murieta Senior Gold Rush. At the turn, Peter Thompson held a one-stroke lead over Lou Graham, but on the 11th hole, his par putt was short, and Thompson lost his advantage. Seconds later, however, Graham was struggling in the last groove, unaware that his par chip was to retain a share of the lead. While Graham fought the Aussie on one flank, a New Zealander snuck up from behind. After birdieing 11, playing partner Bob Charles sank a long putt to take sole possession of the lead. After birdieing 14 to tie Charles at 8 under, Graham hit his approach shot 6 feet from the pin at 15. The pressure was now on Charles. 95 yards out with a sand wedge, Charles knew he needed a good one, and he got it. Now the co-leaders each had makeable birdie putts. But Graham missed his, and Charles was again putting for sole possession of the lead. The momentum had shifted decisively to Charles. He parred in while the contenders faded and celebrated Independence Day with his 3rd Senior Tour victory of the year. The practice tee. This week, a winner of 3 international events, David Frost.
One of the things I like to do is to work on my golf swing, and I really enjoy working out on the practice tee. You can hit as many balls as you like, and I think the most important thing you want to do is not to change your golf swing when you're trying to hit a different golf shot. I like to, when I try and cut the ball, all I try and do is try and get my right hand a little bit more on top of the club. When I try and draw the ball or maybe even hook it, I like to get my right hand a bit under the golf club. One thing I don't want to do, I never want to change my swing. I never want the club, my hands to leave my body when I want to cut the ball or fade the ball. When I want to draw it, I never try and let it come inside my body. I always want my hands to stay in relation to where they started, at the same place. I never wanted to go outside or never wanted to come inside. So I'll hit a little fade now by putting my right hand a little bit on top of the club. Now I'm going to hit a little draw, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my right hand a little bit under the golf club. Same golf swing. Basically what you never want to do is change your golf swing or the path of your golf swing to hit a different golf shot. The thing you want to do all the time is to try and repeat the same swing, which will give you much more consistency. So all I've done now, to cut the ball or to fade the ball, my right hand has just come a little bit over. I use the same golf swing. To draw the ball, my right hand's gone a little bit under. I've used the same golf swing. And there's a much smaller margin of error involved. And if you ever have any problem with your golf game, you can see your local PGA pro.
Introducing an automobile born for the great American road. Murieta by Buick. A premium American two-seater, Murieta offers the exhilaration of a sports car and the luxury of a Buick at a most attractive price. If your destination in life has always been the top, go ahead. You deserve it.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
As anyone who reads the Wall Street Journal can tell you, it takes money to make money. Specifically, it takes 47 cents a day.
Call 800-228-1900 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-228-1900 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Young stars are on display at the world's oldest professional tennis tournament. See the final match of the U.S. Pro Championships Sunday afternoon at 4 Eastern live on ESPN.
This week, the Commonwealth State of Virginia plays host to the PGA Tour for the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic. Through the restoration of the one-time colonial capital of Virginia, the town of Williamsburg brings the history of 18th century America back to life. The venue for the Classic is the Pete Dye-designed Kingsmill Golf Club. At 6,800 yards, this par 71 layout is not without its own bit of history. In the 8 years the event has been staged at Kingsmill, the final 3 holes adjacent to the James River have been instrumental in showcasing the Classic's winners. The par 4 16th was the deciding factor in 1985 when John Mahaffey and Mark Wiebe returned for a sudden death playoff. After 3-putting the final hole of regulation play, Wiebe redeemed himself with a 10-footer for birdie and his first tour victory. The scenic par 3 17th became the focal point of the 87 Busch. Mark McCumber, leading by 1, failed to find the green with his tee shot. Yet a successful chip and par-saving putt proved to be all that he needed in his quest for the title. The 18th, with its small, well-trapped green, took center stage in 1986. With his closest competitor 2 shots back, Fuzzy Zeller fired his approach right at the flag. A confident 2-putt gave Zeller a final round 64 and his 3rd tournament victory of the year. This week, the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic. In the Nabisco team charity competition, the top 5 remained unchanged this week, with the J.C. Penney team holding on to its commanding lead. This week's question is addressed to Andy Bean, and it comes from Jay Wheeler of Augusta, Georgia. Dear Andy, what do you key on to hit such high shots?
Well, I think to hit high shots, you think mainly of just staying behind the ball a little bit longer, maybe playing the ball slightly forward, but you have to hit down and through the shot, because hitting down and through the shot creates the higher trajectory.
Each week, more tour players will respond to your questions about their techniques and careers. If you have a question for your favorite pro, write to Questions, Inside the PGA Tour, 350 Park Avenue, 4th floor, New York, New York, 10022. Next week on Inside the PGA Tour.
When I think of Lytham and Sedans as a championship venue for the Open, I think of the winners that it's produced, and there have been some great winners there over the years.
Today I want to help you hit it a little bit straighter and a lot further, simply by firming up your right side.
And a recap of the Anheuser-Busch Golf Classic. Next week, look for Inside the PGA Tour on these days. Check listings for the correct time in your area. Inside the PGA Tour has been brought to you by Buick, the official car of the PGA Tour, and by your Buick dealer. By Michelob, so exceptionally smooth, the night belongs to Michelob. And by Nabisco Brands, a strong supporter of golf and its charitable activities. Inside the PGA Tour has been produced by PGA Tour Productions, in association with Reed Dolph Incorporated.
Grab-'em bags a record 5th win in a row. Mario wins a squeaker in the Cleveland 500. It's a photo finish at Daytona Beach. And yet another 1-2 punch on the Formula One circuit. Stay tuned for action on television's fastest half hour.
Motor Week Illustrated is brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. By Dodge Cars and Trucks. When it's got to be right, it's got to be a Dodge. And by B.F. Goodrich TAs and the new all-weather Comp TA.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave.